All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the race breakdown of chasing sub 245 at the Last Chance BQ Chicagoland in Geneva, Illinois. We're pretty much post 1 week from race day, and unfortunately, I did not hit my goal of a sub 245. But if you saw from the previous clip, I did hit a 246 with 48 seconds, which honestly I am really proud of. I am super happy with that effort. To think that 2 years ago I was actually training for a sub 3 hour marathon for Philly, and now we're pretty much here now, hitting this 246 marathon, going at a 6:18 per mile pace. It's insane to me. It blows my mind that we're able to do that. So yeah, I just wanted to break down with you guys the race, kind of recap the weekend and what I think I could have done better, maybe what could have helped me get the goal. But yeah, let's get right in. Pretty much my week start off, so I pretty much did something different. Usually for any marathons, if I'm traveling to another city or state, I usually leave, or I try to arrive there 2 days earlier. For this one, I left the day before, so the race was on Saturday. So I left Friday morning. My flight left at 6 a.m. So I woke up at 3 a.m., got ready, did some pull-ups because we're training to do a big challenge in the upcoming year. So had to get my pull-ups in, and then took an Uber, got to the airport, and then my flight left at 6 a.m. and I got to pretty much Chicago, I believe around like 8 a.m. So when I landed in Chicago, met my brother. Huge shout out to my brother. Like I said, if you've been following me on Instagram, he pulled up pretty much, now I wouldn't say last minute, but he pulled up, and I'm super grateful that he was there. If he wasn't there, I don't think I would have been able to hit this goal. So he was a big part of it. So great for him that he was able to pull up. And then got to the airport, and then we went to get the rental car. So this time we used Hertz. And honestly, I don't like giving bad reviews to companies. I'm not that type of person. But this was one of the worst experiences that I ever had with this rental company. I never used Hertz. It was the first time that I used it. I always usually use other companies, and they don't really give me issues. It's just get in there, show my information, and drive off with the car. Hertz was such a hassle. I don't know if it was because Friday it got busy, but they had like one person working at the front desk. We were there for about an hour and a half waiting to get service, and then for them to give us the car. So just, you can imagine, I got really frustrated because now I'm more time on my feet trying to get this vehicle, which I was trying to avoid at all costs. So that was pretty much my pet peeve for Hertz and the rental company. So we got off, finally got the rental car, we drove off, and then went straight to a diner to get some breakfast. I wanted to get more carbs in to start finishing on my carb load. I was coming off 2 straight days of almost 700 grams of carbs. So that Friday I wanted to get around 400 grams of carbs. So went straight to the diner, got some breakfast, and then right after breakfast went to Walmart just to get some things that I needed to finish up my carb load, and then for the next morning, right? So got to Walmart, and then from Walmart, usually that's the best one I could find, we got to the hotel. So thankfully the guy at the hotel, great guy. Check-in was around 3 p.m. but I was like, hey, listen, man, I'm going for a marathon. I just want to get off my legs. And we got there around like 1 p.m. I believe, and then he just let us check in. So grateful for the guy. Shout out to the man out there, and we were able to check in. We unpacked, and then I told my brother, let me just go get my bib right now because I don't want to do it later, because they had like this shakeout run. I guess the race directors, they had this shakeout around like 3-4 p.m. Honestly, I didn't want to wait that long and then be on my feet at that later time of day. So went right after that. So we went to pick up my bib. Honestly, it wasn't even an expo. It was literally just at the park, which is really cool to see, right? Like the race itself is not big. I believe it was roughly around 300 runners, which again, it is a big thing because from previous years or previous races, it has never sold out. And I think this is the first time that this race actually sold out, which is really cool to see. So 300 runners, amazing. Pretty much the expo was in the park. So I was able to speak to some runners that had run it before, just give it a little more of a confidence boost. Okay, like this is a flat course, maybe a little uphill, but nothing crazy. And yeah, kind of got confirmation from them. And then right after I picked up my bib, I did my shakeout. I did 3 miles and just kind of got a feel for the park just to see how it is, the course, the turns. So got that done, and then from there we went to Chipotle. So I went to Chipotle, got my second meal of the day, and carved up a little bit more, nothing crazy. And then after Chipotle, we just got back to the hotel, and I just knocked out. I believe I slept for like 3 hours. So we got to the hotel around like 2 p.m. I didn't wake up until like 5, 6 p.m., which is good because I needed some rest. So after I woke up around 6:30, 7 p.m.-ish, there was actually a Dunkin' Donuts like 5 minutes away from us. So you know, Dunkin' Donuts, I had to get my avocado toast with hash browns. Goated, got some extra carbs just to finish the night. And then after that, I just went to bed and rested. And I believe I slept around 9 p.m.-ish, 9:30-ish, around that. So it was really good. Got some, decent sleep. So boom, it's race day. So it was really cool because, like I said, this race was on Saturday. So the way I was telling my mind is, hey, it's just another long run on a Saturday. And I've been doing this for the past 6 months. It's just another long run. So the race did start at 6:30 a.m. So I woke up at 3:30 a.m. Immediately, I had bought from Walmart those 2 oatmeal like bowls boxes. They each had around, I believe, like 60 grams of carbs, roughly around that. So they put some milk in them, microwave them, and added a banana to each one of them while I was sipping on some G1M from BPN and some electrolytes with that. So I was able to eat that immediately. Good thing we weren't too far away from the start line. We were only 10 minutes away from our hotel. So that was good to know. That was clutch. But regardless, I got ready. And then we headed to the start line roughly around like 5 a.m. So we got there around like 5:10 to the start line. Obviously, we went to park, and then from there we had to walk about like 5 minutes to get to the actual start line. I was really happy because the temperatures were great. It was high 40s, low 50s, no wind. So pretty much the weather was perfect. Like it was a marathon day weather, which is really cool. So we got to the start line, and I had brought my bottles. So the great thing about this race is, if you ever do it, is they do have like elite bottle service. So pretty much, because it is a loop, you are going to pass through this aid station pretty much 8 times. So you do get bottle service. So let's say you don't have to carry a hand water bottle, and you can just grab it and kind of have your own electrolyte mix or whatever you need that you're used to. Like that, it gives you more of a possibility. It just gives you more pros to get to your goal, right? So I had gotten 3 of those bottles, and we pretty much got them ready at the table that they told us with our tape, our color number that we needed to put. So put that there, and then it wasn't a big race. So the Star Village itself wasn't as packed. It was just the runners, their families. It was really cool. And yeah, we just found our own little spot, me and my brother, and we just started to warm up, stretch a little here and there, and just got ready before the start line. So right before the race started, I would say about like 20 minutes to 25 minutes before, I decided to start doing my warm-up. I did a 1 mile warm-up with some strides there just to get the legs turning over and making sure that I'm ready to go. And when I was doing my warm-up, I felt amazing. Like, I felt so freaking good. The legs felt fresh. I felt like I was ready to just like let it rip. It's like this time, I guess the carbs, the rest of the legs, coming off an 87-mile week now to only a 25-mile week, like the legs were just ready. Like, if you ever played those little, Mario Kart goals or Hot Wheels where you just roll it out and you just let it go and just ready to go, that's how it felt. So the legs felt really good. I got to the start line, finished my warm-up, and then, everybody was getting ready at the start line. And usually I always do this, and I did this extra step, which probably I shouldn't have done, but I only had concerns because the Adidas that I wore, the Adidas, the shoes that I had for race day, when I did try them out here on my long runs in Texas, because it's so humid, my shoelaces will get untied so like quickly, maybe after 6, 7, even 10 miles, because it got so humid, it got so wet. So that's my thought. I was like, man, I don't want my shoelaces to get untied and I lose minutes or seconds. So let me retie them and let me make them a little bit more tighter than I usually do. Probably should have done that. I regret doing that. It was a mistake on my end, and I felt it, because the first 5 to 6 miles, like, I was feeling it. They felt super tight. Felt like my feet were getting strangled, and you could just see from, I'll talk about later. I show some photos how my feet were already, like they were bleeding before. But anyways, more on that later. Got on the race, saw the pacer, the 247 pacer, and I was like, all right, that's my group. That's who I'm gonna stick with, because that's the game plan, to stick with the 247, and at the end let it rip. But more on that as well later. So find the group, find the pacer, and energy was high. Everybody was so hyped. Weather was ideal, and I think it was just a great day for everybody. I think everybody felt amazing. Everybody's confidence just rubbed off on each other, and I just felt amazing. So we start line went off, the race started, and boom, we're off to the horses. So stuck with the 247 group, and we start off, I believe, not too fast, not too slow. I think we went on like first mile was like a 6:21, and it felt smooth, it felt control. And the thing with this race is, it is a loop. It's 8 miles around the park, or 8 laps. Is it 8 laps around the park? But the first mile, 0.9, you do have to run this other little loop extra to make it 26.2. So we did that first one aside from the park, and again, that's where we're like around the 6:21-ish per mile. So let me go back on that. So first mile was a 6:31 mile per pace. I pulled the splits here. So that was the first mile, which I think it wasn't too fast, it wasn't too slow, and I felt great. I was like, all right, starting off slow. And that's one thing I learned with these marathons, is that the first mile is not going to determine your race. So if you go slower than what you wanted to go, like, don't freak out. Like, that's totally fine. So 6:31, I was like, that's perfect. And then the second mile is when we picked it up a little bit more. We hit a 6:20 mile per pace, and we're just picking up the pace. Everybody was just kind of feeling things out, getting ready, and yeah, pretty much got a 6:20 on that second mile. So right around when we finished that 1.9 extra loop that I mentioned, which was pretty much mile 2, we started to do the actual park loop, right, which was the 5K or the 3 miles. So started that first loop, and then we were already at, I believe, mile 4.5, mile 5. And to go back to the shoelaces, I was feeling it, and I really wanted to stop because my feet felt so like they were getting strangled. They felt super tight, and I think it was affecting my calves. And I told myself I had two options: either I stop to untie them and just free up my feet a little bit more, or I just suck it up, take the pain, and just go for it and not lose seconds. So it worked out, it played out on my favor. Thank God I didn't stop, because I think if I would have stopped, it would have played on my head of, man, like, I stopped, I don't feel the best, and I would have made excuses. So I didn't stop. I said, it's just pain, like, it is what it is, like, it's gonna suck. This is what I signed up for, whether it's mile 1, mile 10, like, I'm just gonna stick with it. So played out on my favor, and I didn't stop, and just kept the shoelaces the way they were. So right around the mile mark, 3.5, is when I got my first gel. And I will say this is probably one of the biggest differentiators from my previous marathons, was having my gels as early as possible. Usually I'll have them around mile 4, 4.5. But this one I said, nope, I'm gonna take them early. I know they're gonna be useful, and I just decided to do my first gel at around 3.5, the 3.5 mile. And for mile 3, we actually hit a 6:23, which was great. So got my first gel, and then we're finishing up the first loop, which would have put us now at mile 5. So the thing about this race is, if you ever do it, just be aware, there is, because you are going a loop, there are some sharp turns, and there was this big sharp turn, or very sharp turn right before we got into this, like, they call it like the small village or a small town. And I didn't know that, right? When I did my shake around, I didn't go through that part, but just be aware that there's a really sharp turn. And on that first loop, because I was in the back, we were in a group of 7 or 8 on that 247 group, I was in the back. So when I was making that turn, I pretty much almost went out course, and I almost ate the floor. Like, thankfully I didn't. I think that would have put me off, but I didn't. I was able to just kind of bounce back and get back into the course itself. So that was great. So just be aware, if you ever do this race, that there are some turns. Got to the first loop, finished off mile 5 at a 6:13. So now we were all pretty much picking up the pace, staying within that 6:20, 6:13, 6:16 mile per pace. So got to mile 5 at 6:13, and then we started off the second loop, and again, just felt comfortable. Like the pain of my shoes just kind of went off and started to get comfortable. I did bring my hand water bottle with me, and then I started off with 2 gels on those shorts that I mentioned. Usually in a regular marathon, I'll have like 4, right, or 3 on each side, which makes it heavy, but I only had 1. So started the second loop, and again, felt great. I was feeling smooth. I wasn't feeling fatigued. And once we passed the second loop, which will put us around mile 8, I didn't grab the bottles that I mentioned, and I haven't even drank from my hand water bottle. I don't know why. I just didn't feel like I needed to drink it. I was just using the gels. But I just want to say, man, like a huge shout out and a huge thank you to the Texas Heat, the Texas training. And I've been posting about it to everybody that I've talked about, because the Texas training makes a difference. I don't care what anyone says. I'm living proof of it. Like, yeah, you could train somewhere, anywhere else, maybe in Arizona or anywhere else. But yeah, like here, you're literally training in the morning. You wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, but it's already 75, 80 degrees humid. And that's what most of my trainings were, my long runs, my speed sessions. And they were hard, man. They were tough. Like, I would say those were some of the most toughest sessions that I have ever done. But going in down to this race, where it's low 40s, high 40s, low 50s, it almost felt effortless. Like, I didn't need, like, my pack, my hand water bottle, or even just grabbing water from, you know, the stations that they had. I didn't grab any of that until like mile 23 and a half. As the second loop, mile 8. And at this point, like I said, the pain from my feet, I just didn't even think about, just forgot about it. I had my eyes forward, locked in, no emotion, just a straight face of, hey, we're on a mission here. So, and I was also trying to avoid breathing with my mouth, and I was just trying to breathe with my nose, which helped a lot, honestly. Like, I wasn't trying to like breathe as much through my mouth, because usually when I do that, air comes and stays in my stomach, which affects me a lot. So I was trying to breathe through my nose a lot. So I was hanging still with the pacer. He stuck with us for the next 2 loops, because he only stuck with us until mile 14. And then, you know, he had to go, and we had to do, you know, the rest on our own. And if you see from the videos, it was actually a group of, I believe, 7 to 8 of us on that 247 group. And I was in the back. Like, for me, like, I don't know, I'm always the shortest guy, but I'm always in the back. Like, I'm always like the last person in the back. And I don't know if it's strategic, but I'm just like, hey, I just do my own, right? Like, I don't try to be in the front. I was in the back. And it was cool, because once the pacer left us, like from those 7, 8 people of us, like it was only me and this other guy named Sam. Shout out to the homie Sam, because he held it down. That pretty much stayed on that group 247. The rest pretty much dropped off. I believe it was only one more person that went faster than us that was in that group, that I think he had like a 242 or something, which it's amazing. But yeah, me and Sam, shout out to the homie, we held it down for that pacer, so we were able to get under that 247. And yeah, I believe Sam, he hit like a 244, so shout out to him, man. He went fast. So got to lap 5, and I was feeling great. And the great thing again about this loop race, you know, you're able to see if you bring someone with you pretty much every loop. So once I finished my 2 gels, like every loop I was telling my brother, hey, gel. So he'll have a spot, and then he'll hand me off the gel, and then I'll just buy it. So I kind of knew already, which is amazing. So if you know you have somebody, if you do this race, just know, hey, listen, we're gonna meet at this spot. That's where you're gonna give me my gel every mile or every loop. And like that, you're able to not think about it, and it's more just, you know, it becomes a routine. So every loop had a gel. So pretty much for this whole race, I believe I had about 6 gels, the most I ever had on a marathon. Usually I'm around 4 or 5, so 6 was, I think, amazing for me. Like, it helped me a lot. So yeah, every loop I had a gel. So we got to loop 5, and again, I was still feeling great. I still hadn't grabbed a single bottle from that table that we have for the elite bottles. I still haven't drank my hand water bottle, which I had 2. One my brother had and one that I was holding, but I hadn't drank any of that. I was just on my gels. So that will have put us around 18 miles or around 18 miles for that particular point. And then I was still feeling great, feeling strong. I wasn't thinking about like my feet. It was just more like I was just so locked in. I was so focused. Sam was pretty much kind of pacing me, right? Because I don't know, he was going for 244, but I was just following whatever he was. I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go right behind you. So kind of kept the same pace. We felt great. And around that, we were already around like a 618, 621 ish, 618 mile per pace, which felt great. I think I was on point. I was like, all right, feeling good, feeling great. I'm not over striding and I'm not going slow. I'm going where I need to be at. I'm at where I need to be at. But then by like loop 6.5, that's when I started to feel a little bit more. The calves were starting to get a little more tight. And then loop 7 came. So me and Sam pretty much ran the whole race together. And then by once we started loop 8, he was like, hey man, like I'm gonna have to like let you go. I'm gonna go a little faster because I want to hit my goal. I was like, hey bro, do your thing, like go, like don't let me stop you. And if I would have stuck with them, like I had the pace he was going, because he hit a 244, I believe, 244 like 30ish, I would hit the same goal. But by that time, like I couldn't, like my legs were really fatigued by that time, and I was trying to put as much gas as I could, and I couldn't. I was still hitting a 613, a 621, mile 24 was a 619, mile 25 was a 620, and mile 26 was a 624. So if I think about would have stuck around the 613, I would have probably hit that 244, that sub 245, but I just didn't have more gas in the tank. I think if I would have drank I did start to drink my hand water bottle, but that was like around mile 23-ish. I think if I would have drank it earlier, like maybe like mile 10 or 11, I would have done better. But honestly, I'm not mad about it. I think whatever I did was what needed to be done, and I'm happy I didn't change anything. I think in a perfect world, right, everything would have turned out good. Like my feet, my shoes would have been good. You know, I would have been drinking everything I need to do, but you know, things happen. But I'm happy with the effort. I'm super proud of how it went. And you guys might be wondering, like, why stick with that 247 group if your goal was a 245? So this was my plan, right? My plan was to start off with that group, and I was gonna do the first 6 loops with them. And then the last 4 to 5 miles, I was gonna like let it rip, right? Like that was my whole plan. I was like I said, in the perfect world, everything would have turned out to be perfect. But like I said, once I hit like loop 6.5-ish, like my calves were really getting cramped up. I believe it was because of the shoes, and then my quads, and I was already starting to breathe through my mouth rather than my nose. So air was starting to blow up in my stomach, and yeah, I just couldn't do anymore, like I mentioned with the previous splits. So yeah, just to re-emphasize, so mile 24 was a 619, mile 25 was a 620, and mile 26 was a 624. So as much as I wanted to, I just didn't have the gas, but I'm super happy that I was able to maintain those splits. Like I said, thinking about that 624, like 2 years ago for sub 3 hour marathon, that seemed impossible to even hit a 624. For me, that was iconic. That was like, wow, that's elite level. And to be able to do that for a full marathon just blows my mind, to be honest with you. So overall, like I mentioned in the beginning, my overall time was 2 hours, 46 minutes, and 48 seconds. And I am so grateful to be able to do this. I'm thankful to God that I'm capable of doing this, that I have a body that's able to do this. And to think, like I mentioned, where we came from to where we're at now, it's mind-blowing. Like we haven't even reached the ceiling. Like there's so much more to go. And from Jersey City and now here for the Last Chance BQ, I just feel such a confidence boost, because for Jersey City I felt great, right? Going at a 631 mile per pace, like that's great, that's amazing. But when you look at training, if you have trained for this, or if you have trying to run those splits, a 631 to a 620, 619, it's a whole complete ball game. I don't know how to explain it. Like I talked to a couple people, and from going from a 631 to 620, 619, it's different. Like you don't think about it, but the body's just like, man, like it's different, right? So it's such a cool thing to see that the body can do this, that it can hold up to this. And most important, right, is the mind, right? Like the mind is the one that you have to control. You have to make this your ultimate best friend, that yes, you can do this. Yeah, that's pretty much the race breakdown. Like I said, I own you guys a sub 245. I own myself a sub 245 marathon, but that's gonna come. I know that's gonna come. I guarantee you, I promise that's gonna come. This time it wasn't possible, but like I said, I'm beyond proud just to know where I have come from to where I'm at now. It's been amazing. Huge shout out to the race directors, to the volunteers, everybody that was able to be part of Chicagoland or the Last Chance BQ. I will highly suggest if you're trying to qualify for Boston or just want to get your first marathon or just want to go fast to test speed, this is the race for you. It is in Geneva, Illinois. I believe they have 2 races, one in April and one in September, just as the Last Chance. And I believe the one in spring is called like Spring BQ, something like that. But yeah, I'll put the website down below for you guys to check it out. But yeah, it's thankful to them to be able to put this together, and the course is great. The weather's perfect, so highly suggest this race if you want to go fast. And yeah, we are just getting started. Like, this is just the beginning. The next goal, of course, is Boston. I applied this week, which was when they opened the entry application. So hopefully I'm able to get in with my time. Hopefully my time is enough to get in, and that's gonna be the next goal. Boston 2026. And of course, I'm gonna have some things throughout this next couple months that I'm gonna be working on. Like I mentioned, the pull-ups are still there. If you didn't know, I'm gonna make a big video on that in the next couple of weeks as well, kind of just coming out on what that goal is. And I think that's gonna be a goal that's gonna take a lot of months and years as well. So I'm excited to see what we're coming with. 2025 we went fast, but 2026 we're gonna be flying. So let's go. So I leave you with this. Wherever you are right now in your life, whether it's running or just your personal life, and you think something is impossible, I promise you it's not. It's all in the mind. We are so much capable of what we think we are. Like, I'm living proof of it right now. 2 years ago, I was training so hard after failing a couple months of trying to go for a sub-3-hour marathon to now hitting a 246. The mind is so powerful, but you just gotta put in the work each and every day. You gotta put in the monotonous work. You gotta do the boring work, because that's what separates successful people from unsuccessful people. The ones willing to do the work day in and day out. I'm not trying to brag about myself, but yeah, this took a lot of work. It took a lot of freaking days, a lot of weeks, a lot of months. Waking up at 4 a.m., waking up at 5 a.m., going to hit the track sessions, hitting the strength sessions, staying on top of nutrition. It takes time. It takes a lot of dedication. And yeah, we might not be physically gifted like other people where they only do a 6-week block and they're going super fast. Hey, genetics, great, applaud them. Keep doing your thing. But for people like myself who were not physically gifted with those things, it takes a lot of freaking work. And we sometimes have to work harder than those people because we want to get to those goals. So like I said, to finally conclude this is believe in yourself, believe in your ability that you can do this, believe in your faith. I'm a Christian believer, and that's one thing that I want to keep putting out there, that my faith, God allowed me to do this, and I'm forever grateful for that, because God has given me this body, this mind to be able to do this. So believe in yourself, believe in your faith, keep doing your thing, keep working hard. And as always, si se puede, have that mindset that yes, you can do this. So this is not the end, we're just getting started. Stay tuned for the next big goals, and catch you guys on the next video. Peace.